Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, the honorable educators and all debaters in Indonesia. My name is Akha Fikran from Senior High School 1 Surabaya, and now as the affirmative theme of the motion you gave me, and the motion is this house regrets the narrative that a university education leads to a better standards of living. And as the affirmative position, I agree with that motion. I have few contention I want to say to support my opinion about the motion, but first let me define the motion. This house regrets the narrative that a university education leads to a better living standards, and define here and narrative here means that standard as a story or a description, a series of events, particular way of explaining or understanding events. And I would like to narrow the meaning of narrative, and I'd say that narrative is a mindset and stigma that has spread along in the public and in citizens in Indonesia. And the second one is university education, and I would like to define this as a course of study undertaken and completed at a university, or the afterword of university education. The other word of university education is higher education, and higher education here means that higher education is about education leading to award of an academic degree. It is also an optional final stage of formal learning that occurs after completion of secondary education. And now the keywords of the motion you gave me is living standards, and there is a few meaning of living standards here. Standard of living generally refers to wealth, comfort, material goods and necessities of certain classes in certain areas. So I can narrow the definition of living standards as people who has enough money or who is wealthy enough to live their life happily, or in other words, they don't have to worry about their financial or economical condition. And now, as the affirmative theme of the motion, I would like to say that I strongly agree about the motion that says this house regrets the narrative that a university education leads to a better living standards. Okay, before I jump into my contention, I would like to say that university education can be set as indicator, and I would like to repeat again. University education can be set as an indicator of leading to a better standard of living. Why do I say so? Because as university education isn't everything that leads to better living standards. Why can I say so? Because I have seen so many examples of the sentence I said before about university isn't the indicator of the better standard living. The first example is Bill Gates. As we all know that Bill Gates is the owner of a big company, and it has been a common information that Bill Gates didn't complete his university education completely. And the second one is Mark Zuckerberg. And like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg also didn't complete their university education completely. And the second, why I say that university education can be set as an indicator of a better standard living, because as data said that the number of educated unemployment in Indonesia that comes from university is uh, 5 million people in 2019, 8 million people in 2020, and 6 million people in 2021. And that's why I can say that university isn't the indicator of a better living standard. And I have two arguments that can support my opinion about the motion above. And the first one is, university education isn't the thing that determines how to live standards of life, because the standard of living is determined from each other's mindset, how they act, how they control the income and outcome of their money. And of course, university education have a big role to a better mindset of students, but as I said before, but just like I said, it's not everything. And the second one is, to become success or reach the standard of living, we have to work to earn money. But in the working world, all we actually need is skill, and not every university that teaches the skill to work as their job. And as we all know that most of the university in Indonesia, they teach about theoretical education, and it's better to have skill rather than only theory. Like example, if you know the theory of playing music or the theory of music, but you can't play music, it's pointless, and it works to this motion, because, like I said before, it's pointless to have some educational theory, but you don't know how to implement them at your working world, or you never do the actual skill to work. And that's the contention of me that supports my opinion about this motion. And as the affirmative team, I strongly agree about the motion, and that that's all I can say. And I hope all the educators can stand beside me. Thank you very much.